Did somebody say selfie stick? That's what I thought. Are you not so excited about this new selfie stick? Okay, let's get to work though. We've got a comment here. And by the way, speaking of the selfie stick, since you're one of the first people to watch this video, you get to be a critique of this. Is this a good thing? Let's find out. My wife received it yesterday as a gift from someone at work who did an internship. They're moving back to China, and they gave her this as a parting gift. As ways, thanks for helping me learn the ways of America and this job. Here's a selfie stick. And my wife's like, here you go. I was like, yes, I'm moving up. Now that I've got 1,600 subscribers, I get to upgrade to a selfie stick. Man, all right. So let's get to this comment. The video was for my wife didn't even notice my shorter hairstyle. To which Vikingo 2.0 had this to say. Simple comment, but I feel a lot of truth in there. Quote, women don't tend to notice the differences in the hairstyles of men, end quote. Now, I definitely, I agree with that. I will say, often women are quick to notice when men get a haircut, but I could say the same thing for men. Like this week, since I've been back at work with this new haircut, I've had just as many men as women say, hey, nice haircut, Nick. That's the comment, nice haircut. So, which by the way, if I'm to gauge this new shorter hairstyle on, you know, whether this works for me and my receding hairline and Norwood 3 status, I would say it's getting good, solid, comfortable reviews from people. Which, that's the thing, it's not necessarily even about the coolest haircut ever. Because I know my good friend Robert had said something along the lines of this hairstyle is a little bit on the boring side, comparatively speaking to when I had the comb over part thing going on a disconnected part. But I think there's a lot of validation in knowing that you have a hairstyle that works in such a subtle way that just, it's not distracting, it just works. And you know, it's funny with this hairstyle, I know that it accentuates the Norwood 3. It doesn't make it completely obvious, but it definitely, there's better ways to downplay this hairline. And this hairstyle is not one way to do it. But people like this. People have told me in real life, nice haircut. And so I think it goes back to what our friend here, Vikingo 2.0, is saying. I would say women definitely don't, what they notice about hair, here's maybe what I will say about this comment. Women specifically don't notice hair loss as it relates to hairstyles. They notice, hey, he's got a nice clean haircut. Looks nice. It's not crazy. It's just nice. It's just a nice haircut, because that's what women are looking for. They're looking for, when they're judging you for your how you physically look, is this guy handsome? Is he well dressed? Is he well put together? That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at how much hair does he have. Now, it'd be one thing if you know, go Vin Diesel and have a complete shade. Sure, they're going to notice that. But that's an edgy move. But this, is my skin the same color as this brick? I really think, apart from how I feel about this shorter hairstyle, which again does bring more attention to my forehead, being a little bit more prominent these days. But really, I would argue that this probably should be the hairstyle I would keep. Now, both Robert and I agree that me having 2 inches on top seems to really maybe look the best for my hairline. But as far as what makes me look as a believable guy that people think looks nice, probably this hairstyle is really the way to go. Because I can still get away with having hair this short despite the hairline, and I make it work. So I'm thinking there's definitely, though, a lot of truth in that women don't notice men's hairstyles really to begin with. What they really notice is haircuts. I think, this is my theory. I have to scratch my eye or whatever that is right there. My theory is it's men that are noticing hairstyles more than the women are. Again, unless it's some kind of extreme hairstyle like shaving your head or having, like where I did, I went to the disconnected part, it was an obvious hairstyle change. I'd say, I would submit to you that really women aren't noticing hairstyles. They're noticing that you're staying nice and groomed, or they're noticing extreme hairstyles. I submit to you that it's men that are actually focusing on hair beyond that, because it's men that are losing their hair, are just kind of doing a game of comparison, you know. he and I are the same age, how much hair does he have versus me, kind of thing. Which goes back to the concept I always talk about, how we tend to judge other people by our own standards. So if we already feel insecure about our hair, we're more likely to judge other guys privately on how their hair looks based on their hair loss, if we're preoccupied with it. Whereas if we're not going to notice those things. But ultimately it comes from a place of insecurity. If you're insecure, you're going to be more judgmental of other people, especially in the same ways that you yourself are insecure. And that's something I remember as a camp counselor back in the year 2000. I was teaching my camp counselors in Mount Lassen, California, is I was telling them that, you know, there's going to be guys teasing each other, but the ones that are teasing each other the most are the ones that are the most insecure. If you feel good about yourself, you're not teasing people, you're not pointing out their flaws, and you're definitely not privately judging them. And imagine if you're like me, where you have gone past the point of caring about your hair loss and you just accept it. Well, it means that you're less judgmental of the world, that you can see a guy, hair or not, and you just see a good guy. And that's something I like about my life, is I'm a likable guy. People like me. I don't need hair to be that guy. I've moved beyond that, and I'm actually able to see how I actually look to most people, not as a guy who's experiencing a receding hairline or hair loss, but just a good guy that happens to get a shorter haircut and it looks nice. It's amazing how blind the rest of the world is to our hair loss. But because we're insecure, then we assume that the rest of the world judges us through that same set of eyes, which they don't. Which, by the way, what do you think of the selfie stick?